Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to our City Council study session for the afternoon of Monday, June the 5th. Our council is present with the exception of Mr. Summers, who is out of town and is excused. The first item on our agenda for this meeting is to review the two agendas we have for tonight's council meetings. We'll have the regular City Council meeting, and then immediately following that, we'll have a special council meeting. I know we went over these agendas last week, but council, do you have any additional questions, any additional information you'd like on either of the two meetings we're going to have following this one? Go ahead.
Could I ask about item 9?
Of course.
Maybe have
Cruisman Business Park?
kind of give me the why, the kind of the high level on that one. I've looked at the documents, but if
This is the plat?
mm-hmm.
While you're doing that, I'll just note that agenda item 8C has been, at the request of the applicant, is being continued to July the 10th. So I think Lily is reading our consent agenda tonight. Lily, are you in the room? Lily's probably in the booth, so she's probably hearing everything. So Lily, agenda item 8C needs to be
I
continued.
just wondered why they
just been submitted.
they
back.
just subdivided
Yeah,
it.
this says no revisions to the subdivision design following the preliminary plat approval.
Right.
So-
So they're just trying to.
This is just the final plat. There are no changes from the preliminary plat that was approved, so it's just the final plat of
Okay, and
this.
P&Z
Now,
does the preliminary and
that's
council does
correct.
the final.
And it is a replat from a plat that had already previously been approved, so that's why it's coming back to you. But those other two subdivision lots are not
Right.
part of this replat. It's just the one turning into 2 lots.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Freeman, did you have a question on tonight's agendas?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a question, but I just, again, in our Thursday study session, I mentioned on 5D how our department, the city, is participating with Salt River in finding firm renewable projects and also participating in biomass and restoration of our forests, so to increase our water supply for our community, and I think that's highly important. And it'll help, again, augment our water supplies for our city. So I just wanted to say that. And still, staff, thank you for doing this.
I think it helps keep solids out of the water, and it helps with forest fires, and there's just lots of good reasons to partner with the Salt River Project on that. Okay, council, any other questions regarding either council meeting? The second council meeting will just be regarding adopting the budget. Mr. Brady, any additional staff information on either of tonight's meetings?
No, I think we gave the presentations last Thursday.
All right, thank you. Moving on then, item 2A is a presentation and to provide an update on the transit master plan. Jody, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Jody Searle, I'm the Transit Services Director, and it looks like the third time's the charm to be able to give this presentation. So we met with you, I think each of you back in the fall to kind of kick off the Transit Master Plan and get some vision for you for the plan. So we just wanted to give you an update before we went into break, because when you come back from break, the bulk of the plan should be pretty well formed. So just to kind of reiterate and give some background, transit takes many forms, whether it's light rail, streetcar, local or express bus, neighborhood circulators, microtransit, which is an on-demand bus type of situation, and then paratransit. Why it's important, it improves the quality of life. Not everybody wants to drive or has the ability to drive, so it allows them to be able to get around and get to jobs and education. It reduces traffic congestion. It's a social equity resource, provides for economic growth and a sustainable future. What does transit look like in Mesa today? We provide 5.5 miles of light rail. We have 2 neighborhood circulators, the Downtown Buzz and the Fiesta Buzz. We have 19 bus routes, 700 bus stops, several park and rides and transit centers. In addition, we have paratransit and ride choice service, which is service that's offered to our ADA certified residents to be able to travel around. In 2022, we provided 3.4 million transit trips. So this year we're forecasting about 4 million transit trips amongst all these modes. So we are seeing a growth in ridership coming back after COVID. The Transit Master Plan, just a reminder that it will feed into the Transportation Master Plan, which then feeds into the general plan. So we're kind of schedule-wise a little ahead so that we can meet everybody's deadlines. We are in this process schedule, we're in the understanding the future needs of the program, and we're just kind of getting into the service development, which will be the real nuts and bolts of the plan. We've done a lot of community outreach. The items with the little icon at the end were outreach coordination in coordination with the general plan and or the transportation master plan. But we've done a lot of outreach. One of the things we did this year that we hadn't done before is we interviewed the bus drivers, and we did some outreach specifically to them because they really are the eyes and ears of what's happening out in the transit system, and see how passengers are using it and where they might experience some challenges. We did a public survey where we got 2,300 responses to the transit survey. We also had the ability to have a period of time at Hacktivate Mesa to try to reach some of our high school students. We also met with the Mayor's Youth Committee because this plan is really for the high school students and for that younger generation, not so much those of us sitting around the table, but really growing into the next generation. The public survey results, interestingly enough, about 80% of the people that took the survey identified as they do not use transit right now. Approximately 90% use their personal vehicle. Light rail was viewed as an important mode for the future. And things that would make people want to use transit is expansion of service, frequency, and geography. Specifically in Mesa, we have some gaps, and I would say the northeast and the southeast parts of our city. More bus shelters, park and ride locations, convenience, better information on how to use it, and that's some stuff we can work with Valley Metro on. But these are just some of the preliminary results so you can see what people are saying about where the needs are. We also had a very unique opportunity to partner with Pinnacle Prevention through part of this. Pinnacle Prevention is a nonprofit based in Chandler. They had a Maricopa County Department of Health grant to do some outreach to find what transit deserts in central and western Mesa. And so rather than everybody going out in different times, they worked with us so that their questions that they asked their focus groups and their people was stuff that could feed back into our plan. So it's a more comprehensive plan, and we're really grateful to have had that opportunity. So the next steps are to finish up the assessment of needs, to develop our vision, goals, and objectives that then we can feed into the general plan, to develop some preliminary transit solutions, and then we were going to have one more survey to launch probably in the next week or two to give us some more specifics on service development related issues. So that's where we are with the Transit Master Plan. So when we see you next, we'll have some pretty concrete recommendations to make.
Thank you, Jody. Council, questions on this presentation? Ms. Duff?
Looking at this, it makes me think about the last mile connections. Do we look at that for transportation and transportation, maybe active transportation modes or means to make those short connections to transit?
Yeah. Mayor, Councilmember Duff, yeah, that will be part of this next survey is finding out a little bit more on that first mile, last mile connection and how they're making it. And so that we can provide options on what that how to make that connection, either through better bike paths or pedestrian access, scooters, some other form of transit.
Okay, I'm glad it's part of the planning.
Yes, that will be a part of the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, Mr. Redio.
Jody, I know we have analysis and the TOD happening around streetcar. How does that inform this transit master plan? I'm aware that the TOD planning is probably a little bit longer out than when this is done, but does it then inform after the fact, once we get this type of information to inform our master plan moving forward?
Yes, Mayor Giles, Vice Mayor Heredia. The plans all work together, so we'll have the base. This plan is to hopefully put together the most productive service to put out there. So that will play a role in feeding into the TOD study that we're doing and to the streetcar study. But the streetcar study and the TOD study are more closely aligned than, I think, this plan. Does that make sense? Mary's sitting up ready. But yeah, so that's more of a planning land use that will support any high capacity transit. So it would feed it. Those two work together better than this one.
Okay,
But this plan will address high capacity transit as well.
okay.
Great. All right, yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Spilsbury.
This slide on Pinnacle Prevention, that's just a nonprofit that's in Mesa?
It's a nonprofit that's in Chandler, but they serve the Mesa, kind of Tempe, Chandler area.
And what exactly do they do?
I'm trying to think of they have a tagline of joyful living. So their intent was to, they do a lot of things to help people like get access to food, active transportation issues. So what they did, they got a Maricopa County grant to look at because they were hearing there's a lot of maybe people couldn't get to food by using transit. So what were those holes is what they wanted to identify. Okay. So we just partnered together to get the max out of our outreach efforts.
So they're not necessarily like a transit nonprofit, but because of the services they're trying to connect
Right.
people with, the transit's important.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not
And
specifically.
they reached out to us or we reached out to them?
They reached out to us.
Okay, so is there any other outreach for other nonprofits in this space? It's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, timing-wise, it just really worked out. We're reaching out and talking to other nonprofits in the community to find out what their transit needs might be and how this fits in. If they have something different than what we've seen in the survey and kind of flesh some of that out a little bit. So we're reaching out to some of those as well.
Yeah, because it made me think about like other nonprofits that are working with, the homeless or maybe, whatever, families
Correct.
that we could maybe use what would help their clients as well, or, people in need to
Right.
get around easier.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We're doing that as well.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
Great. Any other questions, council? I have one. Yes, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Jody. On slide 3, you have the 4 transit snapshots. Which ones are probably the most heavily used?
Let me go back. The
You
most
got-
heavily used are light rail and bus.
Light rail and bus.
Those
Those are the highest fare users?
are the highest, yeah, so, and that's fixed route bus, not so much like the express bus, because most of those go into downtown. But I think the ridership, if I'm remembering my numbers, it's almost a little over 3 million, almost 3.5 million of this year's forecasted ridership will come from those two modes.
Okay. Recently I did take the light rail to go downtown to Tempe to ASU, and it was very convenient. I was surprised, though, at some of the safety concerns I personally had with some of the ridership and bicycles and kind of being in the way for egress, ingress, and other things. I know this is, we're talking about a master plan, but is there ways that we can make the light rail and other buses more secure for fare users?
That's Mayor, Vice Mayor Freeman, that's a great question. That's very timely. Valley Metro has I'm not sure of his title, but a person that's specifically dedicated to working with transit, with the bus side of it, not so much light rail, on safety issues. So in July, they're working with the different police departments in their service area, and officers, they're going to try a test with officers getting on the buses on certain routes, just to have a little bit of a presence. We're constantly Valley Metro is constantly working with the various PDs to improve that factor. And I think our PD has some ideas for that, as far as, having people on platforms during training to get them used to talking to people and so forth. So the security and safety issue is very much ramping up that effort.
Good. Well, I know safety is the most important for the patrons who ride it. And I didn't feel threatened or anything. I just felt like, well, some more safety procedures and security should be implemented on the light rail. But do you ask that question on the public survey about how safe do you feel on riding any of our public transportation?
And we got that feedback a little bit on this survey, and on the next survey, we will have a specific question on safety.
Good. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I know Valley Metro is responsible for security on the transit line, but I know we are, with the addition of our downtown security force, I think that might also.
Ambassadors.
The ambassadors. I mean, I don't think their job is not to man the platforms, but I think we're going to see more security personnel in downtown, and I think that might have a positive impact on the sense of security on and off of light rail. So, thank you, Jody. We look forward to having you come back and giving us the results of these surveys. Next item on our agenda is item 3, to acknowledge receipt of committee meeting minutes. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Mr. Freeman and Ms. Spilsbury. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Thank you. That passes unanimously. Item 4 on our agenda is the current events and conferences attended. Council members, Ms. Spilsbury.
Yeah, this morning we kicked off our hydration campaign for the City of Mesa and United Food Bank and Mesa Chamber. And that was a great event that Vice Mayor Heredia spoke at and Councilmember Freeman were there. Our goal is 700,000 water bottles through September 29th. I bet we can pass it because Walmart partnered with the Chamber and took an entire semi to United Food Bank this morning, which was like 34,000 bottles. So we're well on our way. So just encourage everyone. It's so hot outside, you know it, if you've stepped outside at all. So we need to make sure that we have water for those in need at this time. So donate water, grab an extra case. There's 20 drop-off locations around the valley, so around Mesa, not the valley, around Mesa. So lots of ways to donate. And then I just wanted to comment, last Wednesday I attended our All-America City rehearsal in preparation for our big trip this weekend. And it was so fun to be there with the kids and the teenagers and the young adults and putting together a performance to present our story about Mesa. And it's a good story. We've done some good things, and so that made me really excited for that as well. So thanks to all the staff and everyone helping with that.
Thank you. Who else would like to tell us what they've been up to?
Some have been traveling.
Yeah, I just got back this morning from Columbus, Ohio. It was the summer meeting of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I think my time was well spent there. Had the opportunity to speak to on national television about our city's response to Title 42, and got some good feedback on that. I have the assignment to serve as the chair of the Immigration Reform Task Force, and so we convened it. I thought was a real good meeting, very well attended, a lot of particularly border state mayors. We had folks from Washington, D.C., the Customs and Border Patrol that gave us an update again on Title 42 and conditions generally around the border. And then also had the privilege of speaking on a panel having to do with how our city is responding to electric vehicle adoption and infrastructure. So thank you for allowing me to be out of town. Sorry I missed some of the events this weekend and this morning. But I thought that the Mesa, we play very well on a national stage. I'm proud of Mesa when I go to these meetings, and I think a lot of the emphasis also was on mental health. Our incoming president from Reno has announced that her major issue is going to be working on mental health, and had a good chat with her, and she said, oh yeah, I've been out to Mesa and Maricopa County, and what we're doing in Reno was modeled on what you're doing there. So It's good to see that we are, we rank well nationally in a lot of the things that we're doing. Anything else you'd like to share on? Yes, Mr. Freeman.
I'd like to thank the library. I had the opportunity to go and do the summer reading, and Polly and your team are just awesome over there. And the little kids, you know, they listened to me, so that was only because I was wearing a cowboy hat. They go, "Who is this guy?" So I got the opportunity to do that, so I appreciate being a part of that, and it was fun. So thank you for all you do, because I know that was done at the other libraries as well. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, there's nothing else, Mr. Brady, what does our schedule of future meetings look like?
Thank you, Mayor. So Thursday's a big day. We'll start off with a very brief study session Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. But we want to also join to send off our Mesa delegation, who are the finalists for the 2023 All-American City Award. So we'll, I think that begins at 8 a.m. and we'll have comments at 8:30. So we'll be joining them as soon as we can after our study session. So we look forward to sending them off as they travel to Denver to present Mesa very well.
Yeah, thank you. All right, if there's nothing else, council, is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mr. Freeman and Ms. Pillsbury. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned, and we will reconvene for our first of two meetings upstairs at 5:45.